What up, pimps? Today, we're here with your first podcast, the MoonBase 2 podcast, and my family's gonna wonder why I yelled that.
Yes, they will. They will wonder.
Great.
Well, what's today's topic?
Uh, 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 the first moon landing,
Okay.
1969. Today we're going back in time.
So this podcast will be on our opinions on things, plus maybe some theories and all that. So what the first episode's going to be about is this moon landing and how it is real.
New.
Yep.
Pretty fake.
Okay,
No, fake.
so I guess we'll see. Won't we?
Okay, fine.
Okay, well, why would you say it's fake then?
Okay, well, from the research I've done and the video you sent me this morning,
Yeah.
it was 1968.
9.
The Soviet Union and the USA were in a bit of a Cold War. There was a bit of a space race going on. Everyone was trying to get into space. The Russians got into space first, so America was going to try
They
to
got
get
into
to the moon
space
first.
with, with satellites, not people, I don't think.
I think they sent up a monkey.
Oh. Well,
I didn't fully research
nonetheless.
that. Either way, the Russians got into space first.
Okay.
And America got pretty mad about that.
Yep.
And so they wanted to be the first ones to get to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, getting to the moon, no easy thing today, and I imagine back then they didn't fully know what they were doing anyways. So to save time and energy and resources, it would be easier just to, set up a little stage, do a little show, and just film it on a little back studio set. Also, there are no stars in that video, and it's space.
Okay, so here's
Of course
why.
there's no stars.
Here's why there may not be stars, because the moon reflects sunlight, and it would create a bunch of glare into the high exposure camera that was from 1969. If you look at pictures of cameras from 1969, they're no Nikons, they're no Canons. They are pretty much pieces of junk. So I would say that maybe the glare definitely would have an effect on the quality and production of this video.
Okay, I mean,
But who knows? I mean,
fair enough. Fair enough. Equally, how do you explain the flag blowing?
I read this the other day. It basically, when the astronaut put it down. So say you throw something in space, right? Does it ever stop?
Well,
No.
It's
Because
going
there's
to eventually just
No.
sort of slow down, though.
no, it won't ever stop unless it hits something because there's no friction in space. Therefore,
So you're
the flag's
you're
moving because the astronaut just put it there, and the inertia from when they let go kept it moving. Because there's no friction, so nothing stops in space. If you threw a
so
tennis
your whole
ball,
hypothesis is that when he sucked it into the ground, that the movement from that kept like the vibrations ringing, which made the flag blow, which kept it to like moving.
yes, because again, if you say you had a tennis ball in space and you threw it, it would never ever stop. It would never slow down. It would go the same velocity until it hit something, whether that be another planet, whether that be an asteroid, something else. It would never stop. So that's why I think that when they put it down, when you put something in the ground, it's not, and I'm also guessing the moon wasn't some sand-like texture or dirt. I'm guessing it was some type of, it looks like clay. So it would actually be very difficult to kind of maneuver in there. So I think when he was trying to wiggle it in,
You ever actually
it would blow.
seen bits of moon?
No?
It is basically like a clay dirt, almost sort of like a hard rock. So
Exactly. So how would he put it in?
Exactly wrong.
Yeah. So how would he put it in without wiggling it at least? Because I know, especially even if you put something in dirt, you're still trying to wiggle it in. So I think maybe that's why it's blowing, because it's not like blowing in the wind, like flapping like waves, but it is moving. So there's two arguments to be had there, I guess.
Okay, so let's also talk then about your camera here, right?
Yeah.
So, as we know, in space, you don't have your big Hollywood productions. You know,
Yeah,
your
of
lights,
course.
your action.
Apparently,
Cameras back then.
Apparently the
Cameras
camera was
back then-
actually either attached to an arm coming out of the spaceship or attached to the chest of Neil Armstrong. But I don't think it was
Okay.
attached to the chest, because if you see reflections of the camera, there's no shadow throwing a big like pole coming out of his chest. So I'm not sure which one that would be.
Well, forget where it was attached. It could be attached to a guy. It could be attached to the space shuttle.
Hmm.
That doesn't really matter. My thing here is that yes, the video does look like garbage,
Hmm.
but I've seen a few different videos and they shoot it at different angles.
Yeah.
So was there more than one camera? Or
Oh, that's true. That's true. And that could also be something that like they could have had one on his chest and one coming from the spaceship, you know. So you never really know until I guess I don't really know until something comes up with concrete evidence that maybe
which nothing will,
yeah.
unless Donald Trump just wants to hit us up with a quick little tweet about,
Yeah.
"Yo, dog, it's all fake."
It's true.
I wouldn't mind seeing him do that actually. That'd be amazing.
It would be.
Anyways,
And
though,
so
you've done some hard hitting evidence, haven't you?
well, I've just been reading a couple articles in the past couple days, and some of the arguments against make sense, and some of them that are for make sense. So I'm just
Okay,
it's hard to tell what part is real and what isn't.
So since my research is basically limited to reading an article from the NASA website and
Yeah.
watching a few videos, would you like to do a little argument for both sides then?
Well, I have about 8-ish reasons that I have, more like 5 or 6 that I haven't covered yet.
Okay.
So first of all, again, the cameras were mounted to the astronaut's chest apparently, and apparently there was 2 cameras, so that also could contribute to the different camera angles, both astronauts. Another one would be the how the huge spaceship apparently had no impression on the sand or the moon, clay, whatever, and there's no like crater or anything. The lander's engines were apparently throttled before landing, like so that it hovered, kind of like when in a movie when a spaceship kind of like hovers right above the ground and then sits. I'm guessing that's what they're saying happened. But again,
Okay.
we don't have evidence of it landing. We just have evidence of him coming out, so we could never know. Um, Another thing is Aldrin is seen in the shadow of the lander, yet he is clearly visible. Hoax subscribers say that many shadows look strange in Apollo pictures. Some shadows don't appear to be parallel with each other. There were multiple light sources, so you've got the sun, the Earth's reflected light, like reflecting off the lunar module, spacesuits, and also the lunar surface. But that one could also go both ways. Yeah, there's a bunch of light sources, but still, shadows should follow physics, Another one is basically the footprints are way too clear. Like they were like in wet sand.
This is true.
Yeah. So apparently, that's nonsense. Moon dust is like finely ground powder. When you look at under a microscope, it almost looks like volcanic ash. So when you step on it, it can compress very easily into the shape of a boot. Well, it could, but here's another thing. When it comes down, so we have moon rock or whatever from the moon, right? Because it usually is found somewhere here. That means it must have fallen down, right?
Right.
Or taken down. There is a possibility that could have undergone a shift in substance when it entered our atmosphere.
Okay.
It could have fallen and heated up and then made it volcanic ash, and it could be something different now, like actually on the moon compared to what we have now, because it could have undergone some type of change in substance. So I don't know. And then one of my last points would be that the space. Actually, no, that one's pretty stupid. Apparently, in the video there's weird reflections.
Yeah.
It's highly unlikely that NASA would make such an obvious mistake if they spent millions of dollars to fake the moon landing. But at the same time,
It would
they
have
might
been a
not
rush
have
production.
that, and they might not have been able to actually control that in production. So
This is true. They also did have to live stream it at the time.
yeah, that's also true. So there's not really. Well, I mean, live stream like heavily quotation marked high, like, you know. So
Like, I'm not saying that live streaming was impossible back then,
yeah,
especially not if you were on Earth. They would have done it a few times, but
yeah.
from space for your first time, how are you going to
Like,
have that
can you
all
imagine
set
how?
up?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, exactly.
imagine the hell it took them to go through to do that,
Yes, yes, I agree. Um,
let alone having to
so
be like the first ones to build and make suits that they knew were going to work in space.
yeah. Um, so I guess what we could take away from this is that, like, I
Is
don't
that
want to say
Kennedy was a dreamer. Kennedy was a great guy. He had some big dreams. He did some great things. But in the end, was the first moon landing real? It doesn't matter. 'Cause
all
America was
landings
still,
actually happened under Nixon, I think, apparently.
no, that
So that's awkward.
that ruins. It was Kennedy's idea. I'd rather give him the credit. I don't. Did
Um,
Nixon do really anything significant, or
apparently
was he
he
just
was the worst president. Apparently, like to according to people. Now let's talk
so like
about
him and Bush were just hated?
let's talk about
Why are you trying to avoid this?
wait, what? What do you mean? Him and Bush? Yeah, they
So
were
like,
hated.
okay, so I get what Bush did, but what did Nixon do?
Apparently, he was just bad. I don't know. I'll. What did Nixon
Kind of getting you a little off guard.
do?
Don't know.
Watergate scandal. Apparently.
Oh,
Um, I think
okay.
he was a very. See, I'm not. I don't. We don't live in America, so don't quote us
Oh,
on our presidency stuff. But
I mean, he had a
apparently,
cameo. He had a cameo in Watchmen, though, so he must have done some things good, right?
well, um, I don't know. There's some people who have cameos that maybe aren't
I
amazing.
was joking.
Okay.
It was a joke.
Um, well, I'm not sure. I think that there's a lot of things that we could maybe get into in a different
In a
podcast. But
different podcast.
let's talk about
The presidential podcast.
let's talk about Transformers: Dark of the Moon for a second, okay?
Oh, seamless transition.
Because Dark of the Moon. Have you ever seen that opening scene? Right.
Which one was Darker Than the Moon? Yeah, was that the second or third?
Second. I mean third.
Third?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I can remember
So
enough.
so you remember that, and then, I mean, what if there is something?
What do you mean?
What if there's something on the moon?
Like, what if there's? Are you getting into like, what if there's Transformers, or
No,
more
not Transformers.
realistically, what if
I
there's
don't
like
think.
aliens?
What if there's some
Transformers aren't
type
real.
of living organism there? Like
So,
I know. So let's be honest here. If
so
it's
you
if
want to
it's
say
faked.
you want to say if it's fake, then we have no way of knowing what's on the moon.
No, I'd
If
say
it's
I'd
real.
say if it was faked, we have no way of knowing that somebody else hasn't gone there before.
Well, since then, we could honestly say, yeah, there's very real proof now that people have been in space and that they have been to the moon. So, going from modern day now, we can confirm, yes, people have been on the moon. Equally, though, I wouldn't say they've explored the entire moon. So, your idea of there being something on the dark side of the moon, you're getting at, what are we saying, that like there's never been people there from Earth past, or
Well, I'm
what, there's
saying
aliens?
I'm saying
What are you getting at?
there might, I doubt, but what if there is some type of organism we've never seen before? I'm not talking about
So,
bacteria. I'm talking about tangible. You can see it. Some
well, I'm
type.
not talking about like little gray men, but I am talking like not of human species.
No, yeah, I know, like a little rat thing or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's talking robots out there, but I don't fully.
You're-
I cannot fully believe 100% that we are alone in this massive universe.
I think what we're trying to get into here are two separate topics. There is the topic of maybe there's something that exists on the moon. Like there's been found to be water on the moon, right? And water on Mars. So who's to say that there's no creatures there?
Mhm.
That's one topic. Another topic is just aliens in general. So
Well,
if you want to
I
get
think
into
they
the
go hand in
topics,
hand.
well, they do, but equally, one, I think we can wrap up quite nicely here. The other, I think we're gonna have to branch out way further. So it depends on what you want to get into.
Well, what do you think? What do you think on the this moon part? Let's wrap the moon up,
On
and then we'll go to the aliens.
on the moon part. Okay, so I wouldn't say that astronauts would have explored the entire moon. I
Hmm.
don't think that's really
No,
possible.
I really don't think that either.
And of course, there's going to be like probably some interior caves to the moon.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would imagine.
I'm guessing it's
It's
not just a flat thing. Like I'm guessing
yeah,
there's some type of like craters
and
could have little holes in them and all that that you could go down in.
yeah, exactly. And before I talk more about water on the moon, I'm just going to confirm that really quick.
Yeah,
Just to
I
make
think
sure.
they found water particles, but not water like bodies of
Okay,
water.
but that would state that there is a potential for something to live
Yes,
on the
yes.
moon. Okay, well, mm, okay. The only problem I have with that is with the moon. I would be willing to say that there's some kind of like survivable atmosphere on Mars, maybe,
Hmm.
but on the moon, there's just I don't see how there's any way anything could survive unless it's found like a very interesting part of the interior of
Like
the moon to live in.
some type of really specific niche.
Yes, because I get that we wouldn't know how aliens work, but I'm still going off the principal basis of everything needs oxygen and water to
Yeah,
survive.
yeah. That's logical. The other I just found another thing on the moon landing. There was a rock with a C on it.
What does that mean?
There's literally a rock. Look it up. The Sea Rock
Like
moon landing. There's a
like a
literal
like a cave drawing?
no on like there's a rock in the video and it literally has the letter C on it in the video. So like someone could speculate that maybe that was some type of prop that they forgot to flip over, like some type of branding, some type of
Well, that is very much so at sea,
a
but
marker by an alleged film crew. Another thing is there's like layered crosshairs and duplicate backdrops and all that.
yeah, you could state that this rock was a prop,
Yeah.
or even maybe an astronaut was up in space and he was just having a bit of a
Or
goof,
a
you know?
ridiculously
Or
ridiculous
you would,
coincidence,
it could be a coincidence,
which is
it could be
kind of
prop.
skeptical because that is a perfect C.
It is a perfect C, but this also would state then if you don't want to say it's a prop, it was an astronaut playing around
Yeah,
or
it's true.
something
It's true.
like that. That's a little odd to be a
Because
coincidence,
because
but equally, I don't. Let's say that there is something living on the moon. How are they going to know what a C is? Where would they have
I don't,
seen that?
I don't know. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
No, I
yeah,
get
okay.
that is weird though. That is very strange.
Like I don't think it's either astronauts who did it or the film crew. I don't think it's
I
anything else.
mm, I
Or
would.
or you know what it could have been? It could have been some
Yeah.
type of tubular thing that you know how sometimes if you put half of like a big metal tube in some clay or something, it'll make that little C thing, but it won't do the rest of it because you didn't put the whole circle.
Okay.
It could have been that too. Anyways, going back to the moon landing for 1 second.
Okay.
We didn't really see on the video. We have not seen the astronauts going back into the ship. We've only seen them going out of it. So who's to know what they did after their video was done? You know?
This is true. Did they just walk off the moon, or did they crawl back in their little ship and
Yeah.
fly away?
Like who knows?
There is video of them like shuttle landing back,
Yeah.
but I guess there is always the idea of like, well, it could have just sort of launched off a rocket.
Well, what was in between, right? So,
Yeah, exactly.
anyways.
We don't know.
Okay. So now that we've wrapped that up, aliens.
Okay.
Thoughts?
Okay, well, I think that getting to aliens, there are a few sides to this. There's the purely scientific side, and there is the religious side. And from both standpoints,
Hmm.
I would argue that yeah, there's probably something else out there. I think it's a little ignorant to believe
That we're
that
the
there
only
is.
thing
Yes, especially when there are 8 planets in our solar system and
alone.
and it was recently discovered not
And
too long
apparently-
ago that there is a 9th planet. It's pretty far away from us, but there is apparently a 9th planet.
Apparently, there's
So-
like just think about this for a second. There are at least 10 to the power of 24 planets in the universe. 200
Yeah.
billion galaxies at least. So to say we're the only thing that lives out there is
That's,
I'd actually argue that it's actually impossible.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like, even if it's as simple as like not even people, but like more animalistic creatures.
Like I don't think I mean, there could be. I don't think there's a
There could be.
civilization just like ours, right? But
Well, no,
I'd
I
say
wouldn't say
that,
there's necessarily a duplicate. I would say it's maybe possible that there is a civilization
yeah.
of living creatures.
Well, we really
Maybe.
don't. We really just have no idea. I don't think,
I
because
mean,
with 10 to the with what it's
equally
whatever.
though, the definition of alien is something not of this world. Like Earth
Yeah.
is not its home. So, if you want to look at this from a religious standpoint, if you believe in God and Satan, then that would make angels and devils aliens.
Demons, angels and demons. Sorta, yeah, I
Devils,
guess.
demons, same thing.
Yeah, that makes sense, kinda. I would say on the religious side, he doesn't really say anything about it, so I would just leave that part because
Oh yeah, no.
people are like
Equally,
usually like, oh, God created humans, but
no one.
humans to us are us, but humans to some other
Religion's religion's
species could be
also
them.
another thing to get into.
Yeah,
We could be classified
as
as
humans.
aliens.
Yeah, to them. And I
Yes.
also don't think that there's aliens that are just out to kill other civilizations. I don't think that exists really, because if that
Well,
did,
no.
um,
There would be some problems.
yeah, I
There's
think
also all that crap about how like different people think, oh, aliens must have come to visit the world back then.
I also
Why
don't
would
think that
aliens?
aliens have ever even come close to here. I don't think
I don't
that.
think they'd want to come here.
But I do think in the 200 billion galaxies, I have to believe that at least one other species is out there at some point.
Yeah, like, I'd agree. There's got to be something out there.
And we'll
Even if it's as
never,
simple as like a space worm.
even if it's out there and our Earth will never see it, it's still out there, you know? Because, like,
Exactly.
they're what? So many light years away, so it'll take years and years and years to come here. And even with, like, if somebody ever somehow invents hyperspace, even then.
It'll still take a really long time.
Anyways. Yeah, I think
Yes.
that
It doesn't seem.
aliens
Go ahead.
exist. I'm just gonna say that. I think aliens exist.
I,
But
I
not
think they exist. I
aliens.
just think that. Well, scientifically, we have no way to prove it, and I
Yeah.
don't think we ever will. Because I don't think
No,
we'll ever
I don't think so
encounter
either.
aliens.
There's always conspiracy theories, but I'm not wearing a tinfoil hat here. That's
Yeah, no, I'm not getting into all this like crap about they come to Earth, blah blah blah. No, I just think that with all the different planets in the universe, it's a little hard to believe. Yeah, we're the only living things, especially if you want to look at it from the scientific perspective of one day a bunch of meteorites and a bunch of nothingness just blew up, and all of a sudden there was a world, and from there things began to form, and life was born out of a little piece of bacteria, which was also made out of purely nothing.
yeah. I
But
completely
actually,
agree with
here's a
that.
question for you. Scientific studies state that everything must come from something. You can't just have something appear out of nothingness.
Mhm.
Well, the problem with that is, if you want to go back to the beginning of the universe would have come out of nothing.
Yeah.
It would have been nothing, and then
That's true.
suddenly
That's
just
true.
universe.
Because I think
Especially
that
since the universe is also constantly expanding, we can say that there is like a border of just nothingness, and it's constantly expanding across that. So, with that being said, you can't just say that, well, one day something just decided to explode out of nothing and
that's true.
create a universe. And from there,
Another
break
another
off and
thing
create
that people would
suns
argue
and moons
on the other side
and
of that
worlds.
is be
Yeah.
like, oh, since
Argue
nothing,
that space was always there.
no, or like kind of like something like, oh, since nothing or something has to come from something, God doesn't exist because he came from nothing. But here's the argument against that: God
Well, I'm not even
created.
arguing.
I know. I'm
for-
just saying to
well, I'm not
everybody
even
else,
arguing that. Yeah.
to anyone else, God literally created science. Okay, first of all, so he can dictate pretty much how it works. And second of all, he's so outside our understanding that it doesn't even matter. I don't think.
Well, no. And I mean, the God conversation for where the universe came is a whole different thing. I just want to go from a scientific perspective.
Yeah.
Where did the universe come from? And then once we get into that, I'll say that scientifically the Earth was formed. Okay, fine. I'll
Yeah.
say that. Let's go from there. If we go from there, then where does any form of life even start to come from? Where did bacteria come from, and how did that like grow into what we know today?
See, I'm not sure because I'm not sure whether to believe that. Yep, 7 days. Whether 7 days
Even
be billions of years, or God created something, and then also because of some of the evidence we have, most of it isn't true, but some of the evidence we have about the Big Bang, if you want to call it that, it could have happened that like this: God created a bunch of stuff, but before he created space, and then he made that happen. Like we don't know.
okay,
He could have made it
I
happen.
well, I feel like you're trying to bring this more to a religious side, which I'm fine with. I am I am fine to bring this to a religious side. I'm trying to avoid that, but
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
I would state that the most likely of option, which people might hate me for, is there was some higher being that originally gave everything a little push and started everything off,
Yeah, a catalyst. A
and that's where
catalyst.
yeah, that's where like stuff started to come from.
Hmm.
But looking at it without God, like
Okay,
so many
so
scientists
Big
choose
Bang.
to do, it doesn't make sense to me. Like where did stuff come from? Even with the Darwin theory of evolution, it seems simple enough, right? Little bacteria slowly grows, blah blah blah, fish, lizard, monkeys, whatever.
Hmm.
It was said that there was a missing link in Darwin's theory of evolution,
Hmm.
and even then, I have a hard time. I know monkeys are like extremely close to people, but I have a hard time believing that a piece of bacteria like slowly grew into a fish, then a lizard. I know it would have had like millions or billions of years to evolve into this,
Yeah, according,
but why don't we
like, yeah.
why don't we see stuff like this today then? Why don't we see like that sort of shift in nature?
I'd argue that maybe we don't see that because it does take millions of years and we're only around here for about
Well,
100. But at the same time,
well,
because
true,
we've only
but
been
how
recording
is
stuff like that for maybe 200 years because nobody has been able to record
okay?
stuff. But at the same
Okay,
time,
fine,
I do
but
have
how
a
is
hard
no
time
one?
believing it.
Yeah, like how has no one ever? Because we don't actually know how old the universe has been. It could have been a billion years by now.
Hmm.
How have we not been able to say, oh, there's been a shift.
Yeah,
There's been
yeah,
a fish with legs spotted on the beach.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
get
might
it.
have been a little far fetched even for me, but yeah,
Um,
you get the idea.
I think another thing would be for that part. The evolution thing. I don't think. Okay, so there's several pieces of evidence in the human body that states some things that we have now that we needed back then, but we don't need now. So of course, a good example is if you take your wrist, okay, and
Okay,
you put in a fist or your
slice it with
hand,
butter knife.
you put your
Oh, never
hand in
mind.
a
Okay,
fist, and then you
yeah,
tilt it towards you, and you have a big vein
okay,
sticking out of your wrist.
yeah.
Do you have that?
Well, I've got some pretty big veins. Yeah.
Okay, so some people don't have it, and it's believed to be that we needed it back then because we were good at swinging on vines and climbing trees. Okay?
I am an amazing vine swinger. I
Okay.
can't climb trees though.
Anyways, so
I have
so
a
some people
phobia of
don't have it
heights.
anymore because we don't need to do that anymore.
We don't need it. We've adapted to not need to
So
swing like monkeys.
I'd say that evolution does exist to a point. I don't think we came directly from chimpanzees, but I do believe
Well,
that maybe our human bodies have shifted over the
you
years to
so you brought up something I sort of want to talk about
yeah.
with evolution. I'll stick on this topic. You watch Matthew Patrick, right? The guy
Mhm.
from Game Theory and the guy from Film Theory.
Mhm.
He did a film theory on Spider-Man, right?
Mhm.
Which was about how forget like the spider giving him his powers and like the fact of being able to swing webs and stuff. It was a theory on with that web swinging, it would kill you because genetically speaking, we aren't built like how a spider would be.
Mhm.
But if we want to go with the evolution side of things, then why couldn't we state he did say that sure the spider could have altered his DNA or whatever, but with the way we were built that it wouldn't work. But if you're stating that back then maybe it was possible that we did stuff like that, then could we state that maybe I'm not going to say like a human could web swing at
Mhm.
40 kilometers an hour,
Mhm.
but is it possible that if we got his powers, it would still be possible to do something like that and be
I
fine?
fully believe
That
that Spider-Man,
made no sense, but
if somehow Spider-Man was real, I have no doubt that a human would be able to do that.
yeah. I think people would find a way. I also don't think many people would want to go web swinging from building to building.
Yeah, I don't think that either, but I do think that
Uh,
where his theory maybe lacks is the fact that, first of all, it's not the same spider web as, it's basically like rope. So have you ever swung from a rope?
Yeah.
Like, honestly. Another thing
Yeah,
is
exactly.
his strength again was altered, so like he could definitely, it wouldn't rip his tendons off, it wouldn't dislocate his shoulder, because he probably got muscle fibers the same as maybe a spider, you know.
Yeah, I mean, did
But
you
at the
see
same
Tom
time,
Holland? He was
let's not get
jacked.
off topic, because otherwise Spider-Man's gonna be a whole different thing.
Okay. Okay, it is a whole different thing. So I even want to get into like the breaking legs, which
Yeah.
actually I'll get to him.
Okay.
I'd say he'd break his legs when he lands. Broken
Yeah,
legs.
unless
Broken legs, broken
he
dreams.
somehow does some type of landing
Oh,
that doesn't.
I can round this. I can round this back to space. So I think even NASA sort of come to the point where they're like, for the most part, other than maybe like getting Mars, space is sort of useless now. Like
Mhm.
getting into space and going to. So my question is, I get that we need to like maybe go up to maintain some like I don't know some satellites and stuff.
Yeah.
But why do we just send people up for the heck of it? One, it can have crippling effects on the body.
Mhm.
Like, have you seen what it does to people when they
Yeah,
get back?
it makes them taller and their bones get more brittle and all that.
Yeah, they almost get weaker. It's
Yeah.
harder for them to function.
And um, I'd ask that, since that happens, what do you think would happen if we tried to inhabit another Earth?
But okay, well, if we get like maybe a carbon copy that looks and has the same environment of our Earth,
Mhm.
and we find like a way of light travel to get there, maybe we'd be fine.
Yeah.
But I'd say going to like occupy Mars, there's going to be a huge shift in how we do everything. Obviously,
yeah.
let's say we get to a point where we can breathe on Mars without helmets.
Mhm.
I still think that there would have to be a major adaptation to humans to survive there. Because the
Oh,
whole planet is like red sand, it's hotter.
for
You're
sure.
gonna have to find a way
It's
to
like
adapt.
it's like what, 60 degrees Celsius most days, where we can barely handle
Yeah.
35. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like extremely hot temperatures.
Yeah.
And it's sand everywhere. It's basically it's a full-on desert planet.
it
You'd
literally
have to find a way to adapt to
Some-
the heat
some,
and the
some
sand.
Tatooine looking stuff.
I hate sand. It's coarse, it's rough, it's irritating. Gets everywhere.
Anyways, so
Christian Hayes, best actor.
he's great.
Star Wars is another topic for later.
We're going to talk about
We'll save that for the
a whole
Christmas
plethora
podcast.
of things on this podcast, and we're going to get off
Christmas
topic a lot.
podcast.
But
Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Is it Luke? Is it Leia? Is it Kylo Ren? That's not the topic for today.
I guess Star Wars kind of relates to space.
I mean, Star Wars relates to space. Equally, I could say the Venom movie relates to space, which I want to talk about. I'm just trying to save that for later.
We'll have to do a movie podcast, and
There's a few ideas I want
Yeah.
to throw around.
okay,
Stuff I'm actually prepared for. I did not
Alright.
prepare for this space one
okay, me neither.
at all.
But now that we're
Okay,
we're
great.
way off topic and we don't even have to prepare anymore, what do you think of? Okay, so
Of drugs, space drugs.
if
Space
aliens
drugs. The Ricky
did
Morty story.
exist, okay, just let's pretend they do.
Yep.
And we could interact with them at some point. Do you think that they would look? So, where do you think the inspiration for what an alien looks like came from? Like, why are
Oh,
they
like-
green people? Why are they gray people? Why are they weird?
Like the
balloon-headed?
original inspiration
Yeah.
for like these weird big head, black eyed, gray green people.
Yeah.
Huh. That's a good question. Where did the inspiration come from for that?
Well, I mean,
I mean, there's nothing really like that on Earth, which I get. You
I know,
wouldn't want
right,
from
right.
Japan.
You wouldn't want it
But
to
why
be
that
like-
design specifically?
Okay, so here's another thing.
Yeah.
What about people who report abductions?
I think I would say there's no way to like prove abductions, right? To people that report it to like crop circles, yeah, those might be weird. I'd
Those
argue
are
most of them,
that's
though, are
another
just-
that's another thing. Those are really
I'd
quite weird.
I'd argue like people that report them, like report an abduction and then be like, ah, crop circle. I could say they would just make the crop circle. And if you're gonna report the abduction, I know you wouldn't have a camera or anything,
Hmm.
but even then, why couldn't you just sort of grab something? And why would an alien come and try to like abduct us?
Hmm.
What's the point?
Well, yeah, I don't know, but like
They have
some
to
people
gain
are
us. We're not a
some people
threat.
have very
We're not interested.
specific stories.
Which I would say almost be more vague because the more details you get, it's even more convoluted.
Hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Let's say I I'm late for class. I need a story about why I'm late. I give all these amazing details, right? Very believable. In like a week, I'm gonna forget some of those details, and my story will probably fall apart.
yeah.
Sure, they might be able to remember it for however long, but with that being said, even if you want to argue, oh, my memory's getting faulty, crap, that's dumb.
Yeah,
Like,
I
if you're abducted by aliens, you're gonna remember all the details very specifically that
and I
you
don't think
listed.
they have this Men in Black technology that they can just make you forget it. So you either better
No,
have some type of very credible story, or you're lying. You know what I mean?
yeah. How would you even like?
I've never heard a super credible abduction story. I've heard weird ones. I've heard ones that are just simply stupid. Like I can't imagine like somebody being like it's just imagination, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, and even then, how would you wake up during the abduction?
yeah, like
And how would an alien be
if they
like?
knock
Ah,
if they knock you
that's fine.
out, if they knock you okay, so if you're knocked out,
Like
pretend for a surgery, what's the
anesthesia.
difference of like getting knocked out by aliens?
Yeah, like consi- being someone that's been knocked out to like have teeth removal before. You don't wake up. You don't
Yeah.
feel anything.
And
There are cases of people like waking up during surgeries and stuff,
yeah.
but they get put back down like immediately. People aren't
Actually,
okay
some
with.
people don't. Some people are
Well, some people have a
paralyzed.
surgery while
Some
they're
people
open,
are paralyzed and
like
they can't do
awake.
anything and they just feel it all because the
Well,
doctors don't even
Mark.
know that they're not sleeping.
Well, Mark Plyer has had a few surgeries while he's awake,
Yeah.
and he stated it is some of the worst pain I have ever felt.
Well,
And
yeah.
before getting knocked out.
My grandpa
Even
stayed awake for his knee replacement, but he got numbed.
uh,
He got numbed from the body down, like the
yeah,
torso down, and
like
he
they at
just
least
and he watched it.
they at least give you something. Like even when they do eye surgery,
Yeah.
like they numb the pain.
Yeah.
Like you don't feel anything. You just smell the burning of chicken.
So here's the thing. Some people would
That's
say if they were
I found something on the aliens, by the way. But go ahead.
if they were abducted, okay, they'd say, "Oh,
Yeah.
maybe their drugs are different than ours, then that's why I woke up." So here's something that maybe if people that are abducted are claiming they've come or are coming and have been researching us and watching us, why haven't
And they've
they
been
been
doing this for
able
years.
why haven't they been able to replicate our anesthesia then? Because if they could, then you wouldn't wake up.
Yeah, no. Also, if they've been doing this for years, they're gonna know what they're doing by
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
I don't think they would necessarily.
People
like,
who somehow wake up and it's reported continuously are either looking for attention or just loonies, just
Yeah.
nuts.
No. Okay. So the original gray alien
Hmm.
was created by a man by the name of H.G. Wells, which I just want to state now. The Flash season 3 would ripped off the name. Very clever though. Didn't
Okay.
get the reference. Very nice Flash team.
Okay.
But okay, so in the 1893 article Man of the Year Million, the
Mhm.
well-known author H.G. Wells had envisioned the possibility of humanity. He actually pictured humanity transforming into a race of these gray-skinned beings who were like maybe a meter taller with bigger heads and larger oval
Yeah.
pitch black eyes.
For
So it was basically
for
this.
vision,
It
right?
was yeah, it was fiction. It was this author that basically took
Mhm.
the idea of a human and was like, well, what if I imagine this and I change it to make it more unrealistic?
Okay.
So they're based off of humans, and this author was like, I'm gonna have a bit of a goof with this, a bit of a gap, a bit of a dabble,
Okay. Okay. I get it.
like Jackson Pollock with his art.
Yeah.
That's a topic for later too.
Yeah, that's true.
He ruined art.
Okay. Um. Anyways, so
Yeah.
like again, like I don't know. I just feel like things like abductions and like alien conferences and all that are just so like I get some people are very avid believers in it, but you have literally no evidence.
You,
Like at least for a religion, you have some type of scripture,
well,
right? But like for
you listen to. Sorry, go ahead.
like alien, I guess cults you could call them. There's no
Sure.
evidence. There's just somebody
There's
speaking to
really
you
not.
about what they've maybe experienced, and then you blindly follow them. I just don't get why people just okay, sure, I'm bored.
Okay. So let's go with alien stories. You listen to creepypastas, right?
Sometimes, yes.
You also listen to a lot of like real weird
Uh
stories.
huh.
Little
Allegedly.
little backstory for you. Me and me and Ethan went drove up to a camp once, and we listened to allegedly real stories, very creepy,
Mhm.
and we also listened to a few creepypastas. So my question is, then, have you ever heard like maybe a very convincing alien story that you're like, yeah, okay, there's actually some proof in that. There's a bit of
I've
kind of
heard a
got your mind
couple,
working.
um, creepypastas about that, but I just don't remember the name.
No, and fair enough. I'm not expecting you to remember the name. I was just asking if you ever heard like a few things that maybe got your brain like,
I
yeah,
also
okay, there's actually a bit of like
Yeah,
evidence there that would get
I
me
remember.
thinking.
Sometimes I would listen to them in my car, and then I remember being like, "Oh, okay, like that kind of, I guess." But at the same time, you have to take it with a grain of salt because it is a creepypasta. And second, I actually don't remember any of the points that were made because it was probably a year ago when I last listened to my alien, like one of the alien ones. But at the same time, um, taking it with a grain of salt, I think, is important. But at the same time, some of the arguments are very, not convincing, but maybe turn the gears a little bit and like, oh, like I guess maybe some things like
Okay,
that. But at the
okay.
same time, somebody could also
You
be
know, also weird,
taking something into
yep,
like taking something
like,
that was created by someone else and being like, oh, aliens created this. So
and
like you never know.
yeah. You know what also is sort of funny
What?
in my mind? Most people that report like aliens
Uh-huh.
are people that you would very easily be like, yeah, you just want attention. You're an
Yeah,
attention
exactly.
seeker. You live out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
No one no one could like confirm where you were on this
Yeah.
date.
Yeah.
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 Just it's weird stuff like that.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
on one hand, we're not knocking that aliens aren't real, but we're also not saying that abductions aren't real. So we have
Here's what we've reached
mixed
because
reviews.
we are
We
we
were
are
way off topic
no,
from
we're
what we
ending
started.
we're ending soon. We've been going for about 42 and a half minutes. Um
Okay.
I'd say here are our conclusions. The moon landing
Yeah.
was what?
The moon landing was, well, I'd say the original one was still probably fake.
Okay, okay,
Even with you had some valid arguments,
okay.
but I would still say it was probably fake due to time constraints, money, and the actual research it would take, and
Yeah.
within the time that they did everything.
Another conclusion we reached.
Plus,
Yeah,
sorry, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, go, go.
Plus, it was also JF Kennedy's idea of getting to the moon
Mhm,
first. And, like, he had this big inspirational speech. I think it was just sort of shot on the head.
mhm.
So of course they were gonna have to do it, and they were gonna have to do it like
Yeah, yeah, that's
perfectly.
true. Another thing we've reached is aliens likely, or if not do, exist, but have not made any sort of contact with Earth.
Yeah.
And we've also reached that Spider-Man is probably realistic, and also Venom.
To
What are
an
your
extent,
thoughts?
there are studies
Are you excited for that movie or
that
no?
I am sort of on one hand I do love the character Venom. I am excited to see a Venom movie. I think Tom Hardy's a fairly decent choice. I am also excited to see Cletus Cassidy, to actually see Carnage on
Mhm,
screen type
mhm.
of idea, right? But equally, this is another Spider-Man movie being handled by Sony, who is responsible for the Amazing Spider-Man and Spider-Man 3, and now with the Tom
Oh, the
Holland Spider-Man
just
series
one
taking
thing.
place in the
Amazing
MCU.
Spider-Man is way
It's not
better than
attached.
Spider-Man 3.
Well, no, Amazing Spider-Man was good. I enjoyed the first one,
Yeah.
but if you're gonna do a like Tom Holland Spider-Man in the MCU, and then you're gonna say that the Venom movie is completely detached and have a solo spin-off Venom movie without Spider-Man at all, how does that even work? There's no motivation for there to be a Venom.
I
There's no
think
point.
rights have ruined their continuity. Just period.
Copyright and the Sony deal with Marvel has sort of made those movies just set up to be on screen.
Yeah. Okay.
What about you?
I'm just excited to watch another movie, and I want to see Carnage on screen. That's really,
Yeah.
to me now, Marvel movies. I'm just waiting for Infinity War, and another thing about Marvel movies is I just take them as entertainment. I don't take them as some type of philosophical thing. I just take them as entertainment because most of
The
the time,
the only
special
way
effects.
ever.
Yeah.
No, I'll let you finish your thought.
The
I interrupt a lot.
yeah, me too. It's okay. The Because at the end of the day, special effects are gorgeous and beautiful and amazing in those movies. The storylines aren't always the best. The actors are very good. I've not seen a poorly cast person in most Marvel movies actually yet, if I'm being honest.
No, this also
And
isn't actually a Marvel movie though.
yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, with all these superhero movies, I've never. And then another thing is, I mean, they almost have to make them for the amount of money they make. I'm not gonna knock people for their business. That's just how they get things done, you know. But at the same time, there are lots of plot holes. There's lots of problems with them, and there's lots of Easter eggs that maybe most people don't appreciate and stuff like that. But anyways, what were you gonna say?
Um, I don't remember. I gotta wrap up apparently though.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's wrapping up anyways.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so I guess we'll see you for the next, or talk to you, I guess, for the next episode.
See you
And
next week.
yeah,
We'll
we're gonna
we'll
do it
dive
weekly at some point
we'll
before
dive
Wednesdays
more into
usually.
another topic. Yeah.
All right. Okay. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.